DFT, which converts the time domain signal x of n into frequency domain signal x of k, can be solved by using linear transformation approach. For doing that, what we do is we represent the exponential term in the expression, that is e raised to minus j 2 pi by capital N, by this Wn. Now this Wn here is e raised to minus j 2 pi by capital N. When you replace that exponential term by Wn, the DFT expression becomes xk is equal to summation n from 0 to capital N minus 1 x of n w raised to kn n, this capital N. K also takes on the value 0 to n minus 1. Similarly, the IDFT equation can also be written in terms of Wn as xn is equal to 1 by capital N summation k from 0 to n minus 1 x of k w raised to minus nkn. This small n takes on the values from 0 to capital N minus 1. Now this Wn, as I said, is e raised to minus j 2 pi by n and is called as the twiddle factor. Each DFT point to compute by this complex multiplication and complex addition, what we need is we need to expand this summation expression. Now suppose that I am finding this capital X 0, then in the equation I will be first substituting k is equal to 0, and then I will be varying these values of n from 0 to capital N minus 1 and expanding this summation expression. And then one linear equation I get in terms of this W. Likewise, if I am computing total n DFT points, then for n DFT point, such kind of linear equations, n number of linear equations we get, which are in terms of this twiddle factor W. So to view this as a linear solution of evaluating this linear equation by means of matrix approach, what we do is we define the endpoint vector x of input signal xn and the endpoint vector capital X of DFT coefficients and n cross n matrix of Wn. Now x, let us represent in terms of a column vector x0 to xn minus 1 and the capital X in terms of a column vector from x0 to xn minus 1 and Wn n cross n matrix. Now this W, while writing, see here I have taken it for an example of n is equal to 4. This capital X is of column vector of 4 points from x0 to x3 and this small x is a column vector of 4 points from x0 to x4. Now 4 cross 4 matrix of this W, that is written from this expression. So when in this expression you substitute k is equal to 0, x0 is equal to this w raised to 0, it becomes w raised to 0 is 1 and this xn where n is taking on the values from 0 to n minus 1. Now in this case it is 3. So 0 to 3. 0 to 3 means this x0 plus x1 plus x2 plus x3. Now when with this column vector you multiply with this row vector, you get the first equation from this DFT equation, that is x0. So for x0 to obtain to this row of this matrix n cross matrix, you have to multiply with this column and you get the first equation for x0. Now for x1 to find, in this equation we substitute k is equal to 1. So here you will get w raised to nn and n is varying from 0 to 3. When you substitute values of n in the equation now here, where xn into w raised to nn, this capital N is 4, so W raised to N4. So now I will substitute N is equal to 0 to 3. So what equation becomes? X0 into W raised to 0 plus X1 into W raised to 1 4 plus X2 into W raised to 2 4 plus X3 into W raised to 3 4. Now when I multiply the second row of this n cross n matrix or 4 matrix of this twiddle factor with this column matrix of input, you get the second equation, which is evaluated by the substituting the values of k and n in this DFT equation. And similarly for x2, for the third this row, you have to multiply with this column, and to get x3, the last row you have to multiply with this column, and you this whatever the equations you get, that are as per this expression of DFT. That is why what we do is this W raised to Kn, we take it into n cross n matrix. So if you observe carefully here, you observe that the first row and the first column, you get W raised to 0, so that are filled with 1 1 1. And the second row is filled with W raised to 1 n, W raised to 2 capital N, W raised to 3 n, so on, W raised to n minus 1 n. And the second row will be W raised to 2 4, or W raised to 2n, W raised to 4n, W raised to 6n, W raised to n, 8n, and so on up to W raised to 2 into capital N minus 1 n. Likewise, in the last row, what you get is 1 into W raised to n minus 1, W raised to 2 into n minus 1, then W raised to 3 into n minus 1, and the last matrix, this last cell, you just see this previous slide. Here I have this, I was supposed to modify as I told yesterday, previous class, W raised to n minus 1 into n minus 1, n is the last term here in this n cross n matrix of Wn. So we will be evaluating for the n is equal to 4 in this class. Now let me go back, see here this. If you observe this n cross n matrix of this W, you observe that there are the twiddle factor forms varying from W raised to 0 to W raised to 9, 4. But all these twiddle factors not necessary to evaluate or compute, because they are complex values. They obey the periodicity property and symmetry property. So if we compute only two terms also, the remaining rest of the terms we can compute by using the property. That is, if you have the capital N, then n by 2 points are enough to evaluate the remaining n by 2 points of this twiddle factor. So let us first see this periodicity property. So W raised to nkn is periodic with this small n or with this capital N. That is, we can say that W raised to small n into k plus n by n, or W raised to n plus capital N into kn, both is equal to W raised to nkn. Now to prove this, we need to split this bracket. Now when you split either this bracket or this bracket, what you get is one term is nkn, and in the another term you get this capital N. So for example, suppose I am splitting this W raised to n into bracket k plus n, you will get W raised to nkn and W raised to nnn. Now what is the value of this W raised to nnn? Why it is 1? W raised to nnn is equal to 1 because W is e raised to minus j 2 pi by capital N, and this nn you substitute here. Now this n and this n will get cancelled, and you will remain with e raised to minus j 2 pi n. Now the value of e raised to minus j 2 pi n is equal to 1. Therefore, this term is equal to W raised to n. Now whether it is with respect to n you write, or with respect to k you write this is periodic with the period of capital N, this twiddle factor. This is what the periodicity property of twiddle factor. If you need to prove it, either for this term you have to prove, otherwise for this term you can prove. So for w raised to nn or w raised to k capital N, you have to prove that this term is equal to 1. Now for symmetry property, it is symmetrical about the n by 2 points. So is w raised to kn plus n by 2 if you have, and if you split these two terms, you get w raised to kn into w raised to n by 2n. Now here in this exponential term, if I replace this n with n by 2, what will happen? N will get cancelled and 2 also will get cancelled and will remain with e raised to minus j pi n. Now what is the value of e raised to minus j pi? Here n is not there, this is w raised to n by 2 only. So this small n is not there. If small n is also not there, then this exponential term becomes e raised to minus j pi. What is the value of e raised to minus j pi? The value of e raised to minus j pi is minus 1, and therefore this w raised to k plus n by 2n is equal to minus w raised to kn. So w raised to k and the 50% remaining points you can find out with this. This is the periodic symmetry property of this twiddle factor. Of conjugate symmetric, these twiddle factors, they are conjugate symmetric if suppose w raised to kn is not a real term, and when it is a complex, at that time this symmetry it obeys the conjugate symmetry. If it is real, then it is minus w raised to kn. If it is not real, at that time it obeys conjugate symmetry. Then at that time w raised to n minus kn is equal to w raised to kn and conjugate of that. Now to prove this, again you split this w raised to nn and w raised to minus k. Now you will observe that w raised to nn is equal to 1. Now in this expression, if this small n is not there, then this n will get cancelled and will remain with e raised to minus j2 pi. And the value of e raised to minus j2 pi is 1. And then only term remains is w raised to minus kn. W raised to minus k is nothing but the conjugate of w raised to kn. So we shall say that w raised to n minus kn is conjugate of w raised to kn. So to say that or to observe the conjugate symmetry and the symmetry of the twiddle factors, what we have to do is we have to map the twiddle factors on the circle. You divide the circle into n equally spaced points. Now here for example n is equal to 4 I have plotted. So w raised to 0, 4, w raised to 1, 4, 2, 4 and 3, 4 we write here on this circle map on the 4 points, and then they periodically repeat itself after every interval of n is equal to 4. So w raised to 0, 4 will be equal to 4, 4, 1, 4 is equal to 5, 4, then 2, 4 is equal to 6, 4, 3, 4 is equal to 7, 4, and then again it repeats 8, 4, 9, 4, 10, 4 and 11, 4. So if you observe your matrix n cross n matrix, that is 4 cross 4 matrix of twiddle factor, you are interested in points up to w raised to 9, 4. Now if you compute these 2 points, that are enough to find the remaining 2 points. This w raised to 0, 4 and w raised to 2, 4, they are symmetrical with each other, because w raised to 0, 4 is real. So w raised to 2, 4 also real, and it is equal to w raised to 2, 4 is equal to minus w raised to 0, 4. And this w raised to 1, 4 is conjugate. So this w raised to 3, 4 is conjugate symmetrical to this 1, 4. So if w raised to 1, 4 is minus j, w raised to 3, 4 will be plus j. So see here. In this matrix, the remaining the terms that are replaced by using the periodicity property. This is W raised to 24, W raised to 44 is 04, and 64 is 24. This is 34, then this is 64 is replaced with 24 and 94 with 14. So W raised to 14's value is minus j, W raised to 04 is 1, so 24 is minus 1, and W raised to 34 is conjugate of 14, that is j. So minus j, minus 1, j, the second row. The third row is, these are all real, 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1, and the last row 1 j minus 1 and minus j. Now how to use this to find the DFT? We know that the capital X is equal to W raised to W4X. W4 is 4 cross 4 matrix of Twiddle factor, which just now we have obtained. This is the 4 cross 4 matrix of W. We are given with the Xn with 1, 2, 3, 4. So let us write a column vector of X as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to obtain the column a vector of capital X, that is Xk, this each row of this W4 we have to multiply with this vector of input. So to find the first value of X, capital X, the first row and this column should be multiplied and added together. See here I have done. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, when you multiply with this row, you will get 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and when you add all these values, you will get 10. Next, with the second row, then if you have to multiply with this column, 1 into 1 minus 2 into minus j, so minus 2j here, plus 3 into minus 1 minus 3, so minus 3. 4 into j is 4j, so plus 4j. Now when you add all these terms, minus 3 and 1 is minus 2, plus 4j and minus 2j is 2j. So minus 2 plus 2j. Now the third term here, for third row, you have to multiply with this column. Now when you multiply with this column and add all the points, then you get 1 minus 2 plus 3 minus 4. So addition of all these is minus 2. Now for last row, when you multiply with this column, you get 1 plus 2j minus 3 minus 4j. The minus 3 and 1 is minus 2, and this minus 4j plus 2j is minus 2j. Now you observe that these two are conjugate pairs of each other. This is 10 and minus 2. So xk is equal to 10 minus 2 plus 2j minus 2 minus 2 minus 2j. Okay. So you understand this, how to compute and obtain DFT using matrix approach. I hope that all of you understood. Any query you have up till this? Yes? Is there any query or doubt you have? Anybody? Okay, then I hope that you don't have any doubt. Then I will move ahead with the next problem, that is xn is equal to 1, 0, minus 1 and 1 using this linear transformation. Linear transformation is nothing but by matrix approach. Now this W4 matrix let us take, and this input vector x, that is written in column 1, 0, minus 1 and 1. I expect that all of you do it using the calculators. You perform this operation to obtain the first value of this capital X, multiply this first row with this input vector and add all the samples together and obtain x0. Then second row with this and obtain x1. To obtain x2 with the third row you multiply with the column, and to obtain x4 to the fourth row you multiply with this column. Calculate, compute and be ready with the answer. I will wait for 1 minute for you. Now it is 10:21 and I'll wait up to 10:22. I hope that you will work out all of you. Better from next class you sit it with your pen and pencil so that you can work out. Hmm? So if you work out, then understanding will be better for you. If you have any queries, if you are not understanding, you can ask in between. All of you doing it? All of you are able to see the screen, no?
Yeah, hello everyone. Yes, ma'am.
So are you ready with the answer?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope that you have all done it. So you check out whether your answer is correct or not. Capital X is equal to 1, the first value. The second value is 2 plus j. Third value is minus 1. And the last one is 2 minus j. So if you have done it, then if you have understood of how to find the DFT using the matrix approach. So as I said, you can also plot the magnitude and phase response of this x. You have to compute the magnitude of each of this point and phase of each of this point and plot the magnitude response and the phase response with respect to k. So xk is 1, 2 plus j, minus 1 and 2 minus j. You can use the calculator to find the magnitude. To find the magnitude of xk for each of this point, real part square root of real part square plus imaginary part square. So magnitude of first point will be 1. The second point will be square root of 4 plus 1, that is square root of 5. So you see how much is the value square root of 5 using the calculator. And then square root of 1 is 1. And then again the last point will be square root of 5. And when you plot the magnitude with respect to k, you will get the points like this. The first point magnitude is 1, the second point it is square root of 5 is, how much it is? 2 point some, hmm? And then 1 and the last again it is square root of 5, that is equal to 2.23. Next, to plot the phase response, again you need to find the phase at each point. Now here for the first point and this third point, there is no imaginary terms. So that is tan inverse of 0. Tan inverse of 0, you can take it as 0. And then for the uh, second point and the last point, the tan inverse of imaginary part divided by the real part. So tan inverse of imaginary part is 1 by 2. Tan inverse of 1 by 2, you see how much? And then for tan inverse of minus 1 by 2. These two are opposite to each other because the other one has negative value. So use calculator and find out the value of tan inverse of 1 by 2 is how much? This phase I have plotted here in terms of radians. That is why this value is you are getting here less than 1. So how much is tan inverse of half? it is 0.46 something, therefore this you are getting. So whether all of you are getting the same or not, you just check out. And similarly, for the third term you get minus 0.46. And for minus 1, it is tan inverse of minus 1. So you get 3.143, that is tan pi. Sorry, tan inverse of minus 1 is pi, angle is pi, therefore this is 3.14. Similarly, the same approach you can find out IDFT from the vector of capital X, xk, and you have to take the conjugate pairs of this W. So W matrix you have to take it in conjugate. Once you multiply this all together, then you have to divide this product by 1 by n. So W conjugate of n is the conjugate of Wn. So the conjugate of W4 is written here. W raised to minus 1 4, W raised to minus 2 4, W raised to minus 3 4. This minus 2 4, this is 0 4, and this is W raised to minus 2 4. This is W raised to minus 3 4. This is W raised to minus 2 4, and this is again W raised to minus 1 4 by using the periodicity property. So you have to take this conjugate of W4. So previously this W raised to 1 4 was minus j, W raised to minus 1 4 will be plus j, and this W raised to minus 3 4 will be minus j. And these two will get the conjugate. Rest all samples will remain as it is points. And then with this W raised to 4 you have to multiply with x, and after multiplying the row vector with the column vectors you divide it by capital N, that is 4 for this case. Now let us see the relationship between DFT and Fourier transform. These operations using linear transformation, we shall do it when we are observing the properties in the next subsequent classes. So right now I have only solved 2 problems for your understanding. So in the next subsequent classes we will be using the same approach for finding the DFT. So presently let us concentrate on the relationship of DFT and Fourier transform. So while deriving the expression of discrete Fourier transform itself, we have derived it from the Fourier transform. Fourier transform, we obtain it for the signal x of n, which is not periodic and is of finite duration, that is a finite energy sequence. X of n is a periodic signal and is finite energy sequence whose Fourier representation is termed as Fourier transform, and you obtain x omega. Now this x omega is continuous in nature, so we sample it and we divide the duration 0 to 2 pi into n equally spaced point and obtain xk from that by simply replacing this omega with omega k, where omega k is equal to 2 pi k by capital N. This is how we have derived the DFT equation from the Fourier transform equation. So xk is equal to x omega by just replacing omega k with 2 pi k by n. So now xn is a finite duration sequence whose length is either capital N or less than n, and then at time the expression is n from 0 to n minus 1 xn e raised to minus j 2 pi n k by n. So if omega k is 2 pi k by n, so omega k is equal to omega. So in the equation of Fourier transform e raised to minus j omega n, omega is replaced with 2 pi k by n. So they are directly related with each other, DFT and xk, this DFT xk and the Fourier transform x omega, by just replacing omega with omega k is equal to 2 pi k by n. Now xk being the DFT coefficient of sequence xpn. Now when you take the IDFT or the inverse transform of such xk, you observe that the sequence which is recovered, that is periodic in nature, that is termed as xp of n. Or we assume that it is a periodic sequence x of n, it's periodically extended, and its DFT is xk. So this xn is nothing but xpn for duration n from 0 to n minus 1. So it is a DFT coefficient of a sequence xp of n or xn for the duration 0 to n minus 1. Xp of n is obtained by periodic extension of xn with, if the length of xn is L, then we extend it up to n by padding zeros from L to n and then periodically repeating it for every interval of n. Now, to relate DFT with the Fourier series, a periodic sequence xp of n with period n can be represented by Fourier series expression as xp of n is equal to summation k from 0 to n minus 1 ck e raised to j 2 pi k n by capital N. Now, ck are the Fourier series coefficients. Now, where the Fourier series coefficient Ck can be expressed with the inverse DFS equation as Ck is equal to, this is not inverse equation, this is inverse equation, and this is by obtaining the Fourier series coefficient from xp of n. So, Ck is equal to 1 by n summation n from 0 to n minus 1 xpn e raised to minus j2 pi k n by capital N. Now this xp of n is periodic with the period of capital N. If this xp of n is periodic with the period capital N, this inverse transform if you obtain, you get ck from it. And the inverse to obtain Ck from xp of n by DFS equation, we use this expression. This is DFS equation, and the inverse DFS equation is this. Xp of n is equal to summation k from 0 to n minus 1 Ck e raised to j 2 pi k n by capital N. These are DFS equation. This is to obtain DFS, and this is to recover the time domain sequence from DFS coefficient or Fourier series coefficients. Okay. Now, if we compare this equation of finding the DFS with the DFT equation, now what is the DFT equation? Xk is equal to summation n from 0 to n minus 1 xn e raised to minus j 2 pi k n by n. Now, if you observe this two very keenly, you observe that if I replace this xpn with xn, where xn is obtained from xp of n, that we repeatedly say. So, if the values of xp of n, they are equal to xn for this duration 0 to n minus 1. Then at that time, you observe that this term is nothing but the x of k. So, replacing this expression summation n from 0 to n minus 1 xp of n e raised to minus j 2 pi k n by capital N with xk. Why we are replacing? We assume here that the point 0 to n minus 1 of xp of n and the point 0 to n minus 1 of xn, they are equal. If these two are equal, at the time this particular expression in this Ck, we can replace with xk. Therefore, we shall rewrite this as Ck is equal to 1 by n x of k. Now this DFS coefficients and DFT coefficients, they are related with each other with this expression where Ck is equal to 1 by n xk. This is possible if x of n is equal to xp of n for n varying from 0 to n minus 1. If these two are not equal, then this relationship is not valid. Or I can also say that xk is equal to capital N into Ck. This is how these two DFT coefficients and the DFS coefficient, they are related with each other. The relationship between DFT and Fourier series. The Fourier transform and DFT, they are directly related with each other by simply replacing omega is equal to omega k, that is 2 pi k by capital N. You obtain xk from x omega. And to obtain xk from ck, to the ck you have to multiply with n and you obtain the DFT x of k. This is how this DFS is related with DFT, or the FT is related with the DFT. We have seen the relationship between the DFT and FT and the DFT and FS. Now let us concentrate on the relationship between the DFT and the Z transform. Now what is the equation for Z transform that you have studied in previous semester? Consider that I have a sequence xn and I need to suppose find the Z transform of it. Then by definition of Z transform, I can say that xz is equal to summation n from minus infinity to plus infinity xn into z raised to minus n. This expression is valid if x of n is an infinite duration sequence. If it is a finite duration sequence, this summation exists for the finite values for which this x of n exists. Getting it or not? So if xz is suppose sampled at the n equally spaced points on the unit circle, z is generally we represent it in terms of r into e raised to j omega, and if r is equal to 1, that means that the z transform we are evaluating it on a unit circle, that is radius is equal to 1. So if r is 1 and omega, that if it is replaced with omega k, that is 2 pi k by n, that is zk is equal to e raised to j 2 pi k by n, then this Z transform becomes the DFT of the sequence xn. So I can say that xk is equal to xz as z is equal to e raised to j 2 pi k by n. This magnitude of z is 1. And the summation n from minus infinity to plus infinity xn e raised to minus j 2 pi k n by n. This may not be from minus infinity to plus infinity when we are writing the relationship with xk, because for finding xk we consider that x of n is a finite duration, finite energy sequence. So n will be varying at that time from 0 to n minus 1. So if the sequence xn has a length n or less than that, then the sequence xn can be recovered from its endpoint DFT. Hence, the Z transform is uniquely determined by its endpoint DFT. This is possible only if the sequence xn has length n, or if the sequence xn has the length which is less than capital N. At that time only it is possible to determine the DFT from the Z transform. Now to obtain the relationship directly between the xz and xk, that is in terms of z and k, how to obtain the one from the other, to express xz as a function of DFT, let us proceed ahead and assume that xn exists for the duration 0 to n minus 1. So xz becomes summation n from 0 to n minus 1 xn into z raised to minus n. I am assuming that xn is finite duration sequence and existing from 0 to n minus 1. At that time its z transform xz is equal to summation n from 0 to n minus 1 xn into z raised to minus n. Now in this expression of xz, I replace this xn with the IDFT equation. What is the IDFT equation? To obtain xn from xk, it is 1 by n summation k from 0 to n minus 1 xk e raised to j 2 pi k n by capital N. Now if you observe this expression carefully here, what is the observation? this xk is a variable of k and this term is a variable of k, and this e raised to j 2 pi kn and z raised to minus n, they are variable in n. So what we do is we exchange the order of this summation. As this xk is not varying with respect to n, we interchange the order of the summation. So interchanging the order of the summation and rewriting the expression as 1 by n summation k from 0 to n minus 1 xk and summation n from 0 to n minus 1 e raised to j 2 pi k by n z raised to minus 1 and this whole raised to n. See here, this is e raised to j 2 pi k by n, and so we have taken here e raised to j 2 pi k by capital N, and this z raised to minus n, so we have taken z raised to minus 1 and this entire term raised to n here. Now, the summation is varying from 0 to n minus 1. Now, if you express it in terms of a closed form of equation, what is the closed form of equation of this? See, n is varying from 0 to n minus 1. The first term, this lower term is this 0. So, this exponential term raised to 0 is 1 minus the higher term, that is n minus 1. So, this exponential term raised to the order of summation, higher order of the summation plus 1. So, n minus 1 plus 1 is n. Now, when you raise this bracket raised to capital N, the capital N and this capital N will get cancelled and this z raised to minus capital N you get in the numerator, and in the denominator you have 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi nk by capital N into z inverse. Now you observe here that e raised to minus j 2 pi k, value of this is always equal to 1. So this numerator becomes 1 minus z raised to minus n, which is not varying with this raised to summation. So we shall take it outside. So 1 minus z raised to minus n by n, and you remain with xk by 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k by capital N z inverse. Now this expression gives you the relationship between the z transform and xk. You can evaluate the z transform from the DFT by using this relationship. This is evaluated on when z transform is evaluated on unit circle, it will be giving you the DFT. So xz if you have, and if the z transform if you evaluate it at unit circle and replace z with e raised to j 2 pi k by capital N, you get DFT coefficients from the xz by simply varying k from 0 to n minus 1 in the expression. Or if you want to find xz from xk, by using this relationship you can find out. This is how these two are related with each other, DFT and z transform. So the DFT is related with the Fourier transform, DFT is related with the Fourier series, the DFT is related with the Z transform. You got this, all of you? So if you have any queries, you can ask. Let us keep this 15